smoke and mirrors and.
It's on Sandy Davis Junior Drive, kind of across from the Fashion Show Mall, right by Sapphires and Eldorado.
I haven't been to that.
You can set up the tour if you'd like.
And those are the only two. I forgot, for the folks that are attending on Zoom, if you have a question or something to add, please turn on your camera so that I know to recognize you and give you an opportunity to speak. So the next item on our agenda is really kind of an agency update, and that's what we have been working on. So the public service announcements, Tyler, I don't remember us talking about that.
It was with Joe Dietz about
Okay.
when local agencies.
Got it. So one of the things that we have available, if you want them for your officers, is during your daily briefings, one of our officers can come in and kind of give a real quick, less complicated discussion on THC, the hot hemp, how to see it on the shelves, what to look for, and all that kind of stuff. Our officers suggested that maybe your daily briefing would be a really good time to kind of sit down and give a quick 5 or 10 minute discussion, kind of explaining what you can expect to see out there. So please contact us if that's something you'd like to take advantage of. We've had some real success with some of the hot hemp products available in gas stations and smoke shops. We worked with the city of Fallon, and I think we ended up going to 7 different locations, had them self-quarantine a whole bunch of different products. After going to the 7 locations in Fallon, they identified the 2 Northern Nevada distributors that are supplying the product. Then we went with the Reno licensing division. To those 2 distributors, they ended up fining them. I think it was $100, but you know, a fine is something formal, was done by the city of Reno. And we've been working with them because they're relying on their suppliers telling them, hey, everything's legal. We've been really working, or our staff has really been working with the 2 distributors up in Northern Nevada to get them to understand what's legal and what's not in Nevada. Let's see, on the 8th of October, our officers went out with Henderson Licensing and went to 5 different locations there. We ended up seizing in place about 500 different products across the 5 locations and identifying 4 or 5 distributors that are likely either going to be in Clark County or in Las Vegas. Our next step will be to work with Special Investigations for Las Vegas Metro. Is that you guys? Okay. I think I talked to one of your officers Monday at Chiefs and Sheriffs and Chiefs. So we'll work with them, whatever the appropriate licensing is, to get into those distributors. Our plan is to stop the supply. So if the supply is disrupted, our hope is that the street sales or the location sales are going to stop. Our concern is that a lot of them will just stop or start ordering online and have it drop shipped. But for now, we're focusing on the distributors, and that's kind of our focus. Also was approached by Douglas County Sheriff, and our officers are going to work with him to complete a sweep out there. If we identify a different Northern Nevada distributor, we'll work with them, but we expect that it's probably going to be the same 2 that we've already identified. We did, Lyon County had us participate in an illegal grow that they took down a couple weeks ago along with DPS and Carson City and a couple other groups. And if you remember our last time, we were all excited about our big orange suitcases, those light labs. They ended up being, and you can correct me if not, but it sounded like they worked really well. One of our officers and one of our inspectors showed up at the main grow location. They were able to do tests on site to determine whether the products that we found were cannabis or marijuana or not. It takes about 9 minutes to run the complete test. Then one of the Lyon County sheriffs at a different location was provided with like a expired hemp grower certificate. Kind of complicates things, so the sergeant was able to get some samples of dry product as well as growing product. Took those samples over to the main house. We were able to do the tests, and they were able to determine that the live products were marijuana, and then react accordingly, since the officers were able to determine with certainty that it was marijuana and it wasn't hemp like they were trying to tell us. I think that's going to be very helpful, especially when they try and throw that hemp stuff out to you guys. And, well, pay no attention to this. It's hemp and it's legal. So we have that available. And then I think that's about it. I think that covers everything that we've done recently. Any questions about any of those actions? And then Mike, if you want to give a DPS update, and then maybe we can just open it up for any comments or concerns or questions. But it looks like we're going pretty quickly.
Sure, and just to piggyback on the back of that, the Department of Public Safety Investigation Division just assisted the Lyon County Sheriff's Office in an operation in one of the rural parts of Lyon County regarding an illegal marijuana grow that you just spoke about. There were 2 houses that we were interested in watching. The Lyon County Sheriff's Office was able to get 2 search warrants, and we reached the house. In the back of one of the properties, they had several hoop tents out back where they were growing the fresh marijuana. In the other house, they had 20 some odd bags of hefty bags full of dried processed marijuana. What we pulled from all of those were 4,675 pounds of live plants, 1,300 pounds of processed dried bagged marijuana, with 10 arrestees. 2 of those arrestees were undocumented. One of the occupants was able to sneak out a back window and was not apprehended while we were there. Approximately a dozen chemicals were discovered while they were on site. Those range from fungicides to pesticides to fertilizers. But one of the things that I found very interesting was where's the product going? Where's the cannabis going? And while during the course of the investigation, we were able to determine that approximately $500,000 has already been wired back to Mexico, which leads us to believe that it's not being run by somebody locally. So whether it's going to be something we can tie to a cartel later on, the proceeds were going back to Mexico. With this being a law enforcement only meeting, I can divulge a little bit. We're actually sitting on another house right now regarding that same operation. And as soon as the search warrant is granted, we'll be hitting that house again tomorrow to see what we can get out of that one. Once again, with the Lyon County Sheriff's Office, probably with Carson City Sheriff's Office SWAT, maybe Douglas County SWAT as well. So the illicit market is just, the outdoor marijuana grows are starting to finish up in the state of Nevada. With our marijuana response team, we responded 3 different scouting missions, I believe, in August. We took one mission all the way in because we had some very good intelligence that there was a marijuana grow up in one of the valleys in rural area, southern Nevada. We were not unable to substantiate that. But with those finishing up, now the hoop tents are starting to be more prevalent. I want to talk a little bit about one of the grows that we assisted with back in 2021. I spoke about it at the last meeting, but I was able to get some more details regarding that. We assisted, it was a very large grow operation. There were 160 grow houses that were located on this property with over 60,000 plants. Also located during that operation were 7,700 pounds of dried marijuana product. It's still being handled by the AUSA's office. I asked about the chemicals that were located in that specific operation. We don't have that at our hands right now, so I'm still doing some research into that. But one of the biggest parts that I can take out from there and specifically talk about illicit marijuana and what it does to like a community. The majority of the people that were used in that operation were brought from out of state. They were brought from out of country. So it was a labor trafficking. It was involved in the illicit processing and growing of illicit cannabis. We are currently working with and communicating with several tribes and territories in California right now. And what they're talking about with us is they have some illicit cannabis grows there, and just the mere presence of possible legal trafficking, human trafficking, labor trafficking on those properties as well is more than likely going to bleed over into the state as well. We're starting to, yes. So with the grow that we went to in 2022, it was in southeast portion of Nevada. We arrested 3 subjects that were in there tending to the grow, processing the cannabis. The AUSA did not take them because they were considered victims of labor trafficking, or they were prosecuted on the state level. There was nothing that was given up from those 3. We speak with them every single time. And I think it just depends where we're going to go with that on the state level versus we're going to give it to the AUSA. But on those big operations, we have several federal agencies and almost every state and local county agency that goes with us. So I guess it's just going to depend. This one, the one that we took over in Lyon County, is going to be prosecuted on the state level, I'm sure.
That time, and then they were awaiting trial for sentencing. But they did get convicted, they were going to serve prison time. Meantime, they were waiting, they looked for another spot, let's do that spot. So at least though, they were getting convicted and they were going to.
I can only imagine what the pop-up dispensaries look like down here in Clark County alone. But I'm not too familiar with them happening in the rural portions of Nevada, and I haven't heard of any up in Carson City right now.
I'm having trouble with juveniles or youth. I think that is one thing. I think we are coming to a lot of increasing numbers without time involved in things.
On the vape pens, sorry, are you able to, do you have a suspected source? Do you think it's coming over from the legal market or California or?
I suspect it's probably coming from California.
Okay.
Which is where most of our pop-ups, I believe the product is coming from California, so we know a lot of people that will just drive over here in Cali, they'll do a pop-up party, and then that's probably where a lot of juveniles are to their product. But one though, we had a 14-year-old that was with another juvenile. They were running through the dealer, they were the dealer, and their whole thing was they were like, well, and as they tried to take the vape, happens to be shot at death in the field. But we just had another murder that was an adult male on the move on by juveniles. Well, one of them 19, the other one 16. And that was legal.
Okay.
The vape comes over here to the vape. So we had a few shootings with the vape. But I think it's good.
More than likely.
So when you're talking about the distributors, the legal distributors here in state of Nevada, there's one thing, but we have so much that's coming in from down south and from.
And I don't know how we really address that yet, unless, we're able to find it and then start tracing it back. I know we've been working with DPS on some of the delivery services. That's going to be our focus. Hopefully the supply chain intersects with some of the stuff that's coming over for the illegal deliveries, and then we can start making some traction on that. Okay.
They will give the driver package. Drugs, not only heroin, cargo. Heroin can be there. Who's what we use for it.
Wow.
We're in the process right now from the veteran side of doing a deep dive with data to see the correlation between juvenile violence and shootings and homicides to the marijuana trade. So we're working on piloting that information. So those are just two that we can speak of, but really, the legalization of marijuana hasn't necessarily cut back on illegal operations with things, just because you have a lot of juveniles that are involved with it, but also plus the soul way that grab.
And if we're able to assist, it sounds like you guys have got a pretty good handle on it. And it's dealing with an entirely different group than we've been able to address yet. But anything we can do?
That probably will, once we get the information, we'll probably reach back out and then see what we can do. Just because the question for me from the law enforcement standpoint, and it's probably the same for our narcotics section, is like, are we seeing large burglaries somewhere else in the country where they're stealing vape pens and then they're bringing it here, similar to what we see in property crimes with folks they come here from LA and they do a couple burglaries and then they go back to California, or like today, at Sheriff's Chief, right, the guys from the cigarette company standing up still talking about black market cigarettes, gray market cigarettes. So.
Well, if you guys do discover that there is a large distributor in California that is bringing something here, or you get some information, you can share it with us. That would be good.
And right now we're focusing on the hemp, the ones that are doing it under the guise of hemp. And a lot of times with that, I guess that California just recently did a big bust on fake packaging. So we've been trying to get together with them as much as possible. I kind of feeling like we're getting a little bit of traction with what we're doing. We have two of my officers are working in the same DEA task forces that some of you guys are working on as well. But as we identify that stuff, we'll be reaching out.
There's a certain package a certain way with information on it, that some pictures to us, so we can share that with our workforce, say, hey, if this package, it's saying it's not THC or marijuana, that would be great.
I don't know that we can, but what we can do is if you see a product with the California symbol for THC, and I'll try and send out an image of that. That would probably be a really good trigger for you to look at a little bit more closely. Because, what we found out is there's, in the toy district in LA, there's a whole bunch of printing shops. And they filled, that task force filled 2 or 3 semi-trucks full of illegal and counterfeit packaging with the legal California THC symbol on it. And they suspected they went back right back to printing them as soon as they drove away with the trucks. But that should be a good trigger. If you see that symbol, then it's at least they're advertising it as coming from California, and that's a good sign to pull the certificate of analysis and start looking at it a little bit more closely. I would look to Kara for that. I we haven't dealt with kratom hardly at all.
It's kind of weaned off in popularity after CBD. Like, and some of the CBD supplements also, but a lot of it has gone online only because the market demand for it has gone down a lot.
Okay, so we haven't really been seeing it on the market here.
Yeah, and a lot of our CBD manufacturers as well, the illicit ones, have now gone on to magic mushrooms. So they're just off the new fad, so kratom's not the cool thing anymore. So they're just niche online suppliers.
Yeah, the hemp and the psilocybin products seem to be what's really hitting the market right now.
And that's what we're seeing with the food pop-ups.
Okay.
It's not just marijuana, it's also psilocybin. So yeah, it's mushrooms.
Okay. Guys, anything else? Jimmy, did you have anything that you wanted to add or questions or?
No, nothing specific. Again, just as Chief Staley pointed out, we're here to help you guys. Again, happy to set up tours, anything you want, send us out with the team. And then honestly, open up for questions if anybody has any more.
All right, Mike, thanks a lot. Thank you. Appreciate your input.
Anyone online?
Doesn't look like it.
Is this
All right.
something you guys do regularly? Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is this something you guys do regularly or?
Yeah, we're doing Amber quarterly or biannually?
Since I started in April, we've done two, so I'd say probably quarterly, but maybe twice a year on like a normal schedule.
Can you guys send somebody up to Carson City or Lobby or represent you guys on behalf of your group here?
It's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously, and team, so we all can bring experts and chiefs and then, Deputy Miles will come up with me, what has needed.
Okay. Are you guys looking at pushing some bill or you guys get a bill draft?
We have one BDR that we're working, the governor's office is kind enough to let us use, and then I'll be working on that. Yeah, but then we've been working with industry as well, this, kind of ideas.
Have you been pushing up you guys for psilocybin, for psychedelics, all of that?
Not yet, that's currently, what came out of last session was a working group, so I don't know what's gonna come out of that in session, to be honest. Candidly, no one shared any intel on that with me, I don't sit on that board. But my guess is if they were trying to do something outside the medical, that wouldn't be until next session or the following session, just a guess again. But I think once we get there, we'll see. It seems to be a very narrow section of the legislators that are interested in that, but doesn't mean there isn't going to be some sort of change this session.
Are you guys looking at regulatory stuff with the bill draft or you look at?
Ours is law cleanup. Yeah, I don't think anything revelatory. It's really a lot of refinement and cleanup. Guys were incredible enough to help us put together some of that language. But I think there was a lot of shifts last session. So internally, we're looking to do some cleanup, and then in the upcoming session, I haven't heard any wholesale changes, but again, could be end of May, and we'll have some ideas on taxation and things like that. But ours will be pretty straightforward. And we're not looking for psilocybin or hemp, but my guess is they'll say, oh, those guys do it over there.
Because all of a sudden marijuana is like a big thing, like it's like, we'll meet with UNLV after this. And then there's some other people we talked to, who's met with the representative that represents the group that has the shop.
Cannabis Association.
Yeah.
Okay. When you say big thing, what do you mean by that?
No, I didn't like, it's kind of like all of a sudden marijuana had gone away and not hearing anything about marijuana. And now all of a sudden everybody's super like hyper vigilant about this illegal market that's taking place out there. But at the end of the day, I know that his team is, law enforcement is like very small and that's a brand new agency. And I know that you have the coordination meetings here and we have our narcotics lieutenant here. And, our group works with all the other, acronyms that are out there. But how is it moving forward through the court system? I guess there's a lot of questions because it's like everything I learned when I was an area command captain and the lieutenant working the streets was like, nobody's gonna prosecute marijuana anyways. So why are we gonna go make an arrest, put it into the court system unless you have like, because I worked on the marijuana issue back in 2009 when I was in this seat and fought to hand out brownies at the Grant Sawyer building to beat me and beat me up and talk about George Washington having hemp and everything else. So I got beat up pretty good, but at the end of the day, now it was like, we're back to what can we do to stop the illegal, but we don't have the tools, I feel like, as a street cop.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we have tools to like go arrest somebody unless we got like
Nevada?
several 18-wheelers full of weed. It'd be like, this is outrageous.
Like the bus that, Chief Edgel.
But even then, it's like, being a cop long enough, it's like, hey, stay out of trouble for a year.
Yeah. So it's certainly been a challenge on the prosecution side, but, when Chief Edgel and Director Tagliati were actually looking into that, they're looking to beef up some of their staffing to go after some of these, and then we want to really work with state and local prosecutors to see if we can start actually going after it.
And part of it is figuring out a way around that lack of prosecutorial interest, right? I mean, why make the bust if nobody's going to do anything about it? One of the things is there is a statute that was passed during last legislative session that allows the city, county to go after them for $50,000 in fines. Which one was that?
678 B650.
So it gives the municipalities an opportunity to go after the operations and hit them with a really significant fine. I think if they have successful prosecution, then they can. Okay. So I'll see about sending that out as well. The other is we've been working with the Attorney General's office with the concept of the deceptive trade practices. So if a product says it's full of Delta 9 and we pull and we have it tested and it shows only Delta 8, then the Attorney General's office in their consumer safety area has shown some interest in wanting to go after that kind of prosecution. So it's really kind of an end around.
Yeah.
Or pop-up marijuana parties.
We don't have anybody that's looking into that right now. That's you guys, although please, it's local and it's
Sitting here figuring out a way to get around the laws.
The illegal illicit market.
I'm just learning a little bit here.
For unlawful
Yeah.
prosecution.
So you're mostly concerned about the regulated industry and making sure that they're selling.
We're concerned about, we feel like we have a strong handle on the regulated market. We're really concerned about the illegal market. The problem
Competition.
that we've been fighting for the last 4 or 5 years is that the legislature gave us a level of oversight on some of the illicit market. But when you start digging down into the actual powers that we have and the powers that our officers have, the direction, they didn't give us the tools to do it. So we don't have like an independent prosecutor that just goes after the illicit market. We're very comfortable that we have complete authority on any of the legal market.
Yeah, but you still can't
But
control
it's
the
not so clear
natural.
when it comes to the illicit market, so we're trying to do as much as we can with assistance and education and, getting out to give you guys more assets. But I think it's gonna have to go through, district attorneys. The Attorney General's office has not asked us to really go after the illicit market so they could chase it down.
And at the same time that they gave these, all these provisions to the CCB, state law mandated my division to take the illicit market. So with my division, NDI, I have 19 detectives statewide, and only 8 of them are down here in Las Vegas, and 4 of them are assigned to task forces. So the rest are assigned to major crimes. So one of the things that we are doing right now is I'm proposing a rather robust budget and hopefully I get to go before the legislature and ask for body. So I am asking for body specific for the illicit cannabis market.
Because it's very clandestine. Obviously,
Mhm.
it's, it's even difficult for us to give these pop-up parties because it's really undercover, utilizing other agents. Is that what you guys are looking at?
Yes. So for the most part, I have five drug task forces across the northern part of the state, and time over time, up until now, we've had where we do short to midterm drug investigations where we're trying to get that next level and that next level. We would still try to do the same type of thing, working in conjunction with every jurisdiction that is out there. So we're not going to come into, I can't come into Metro's jurisdiction and say, I'm going to do all this. I'm going to say, I want to help you. Because that's what we want to do. We want to be able to help you in any jurisdiction that's going to be across the state that I can help them with the illicit market. And if the majority of the help is down here, I'm going to need it down here. We're going to try to help you down here. So if you're interested in going to the legislature coming up, we need to talk.
So myself, I'm a captain over at Metro, and I'm in charge of intergovernmental services. It sounds great, cool, right? And it's not like I work at NARCS or anything. So me and Chris, and part of the office, we have another detective, and so we go up there full time, and we represent on behalf of the sheriff and our department and agency, and of course we have to work across, with everybody else in the law enforcement community. So that's why I'm just asking, for my purposes, a little bit of education. I remember the days when marijuana wasn't legal up at the medical marijuana, and they were trying to legalize marijuana. I moved on with my career and went back to the street for the black flag. Just trying to find out now how it looks. I met Chief over, this year, and now all of a sudden it's like wrap it up with a big narcotics. So our joke in our office is like we're going to do 5 steps because it's like every week we're meeting with kratom people that want to legalize kratom. We got psychedelics, we got marijuana. I'm just waiting for the next whatever substance over there to pop up, and we'll be having another meeting about that as well.
So from an advocacy perspective, I can just tell you right now, we need help with Chief Edgel get more bodies, because then they can start going after them. So that's what I've indicated to industry as well. They keep saying, hey, go after the illicit market. So to Chief Staley's, but we don't have the authority. We're really over licensees, and Chief Edgel doesn't have the body. So if you want to help us advocate, it's specifically for his budget lift, because they do have the authority, and they've been fantastic partners with us. As far as up to Tagliani, if not every other week, at least once a month. We really want to start looking at it and going after it, but it's help.
It's going to be a great partnership if this happens, because we're going to be working together no matter what, whether it's going to be on the campus or something else. So we can start communicating before the legislature and develop a plan.
Yeah, and I always bring folks that represent whatever particular section, instead of the experts, that we bring forward to the legislature.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you everybody online. We will send out notification for the next one. But again, remember, we're always here. Please give us a call. Thank you.
Yeah, myself personally, I don't think they should be going through and regulating it the way that they are. They're only doing it to make profit. They're only doing it to make money. It's not for public health or public interest like it should be and like it was intended to be. But anyway, that was the Cannabis Compliance Board, state of Nevada, here on October 16th. Joint law enforcement meeting where they, get together and they discuss ways on how to just make it even more difficult for people to possess and own something that just occurs naturally in a lot of areas. I don't know if y'all are aware of that or not, but cannabis grows wild. It's like catnip, you know. Oh, guard dog on duty. Thanks for watching, y'all. There's more to come.